Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you all with me to meet Mr. Uraz Farukh from Seclore, one of the leading companies that honestly I had the chance to meet and to discuss earlier than today. And I was really anxious to discuss with him anything which is related to data and data security. From a customer experience perspective, as you know, Mr. Uraz, that we have discussed more than once, me and you,
Right.
either through the phone or through the emails coming and going, what's happening around the world, and a lot of regulations and a lot of discussions. People are talking about our security, our data is getting abused. Either these social platforms or now the applications are utilizing this data. So it will be really great. First, I would like to know Mr. Uraz first. Who's Mr. Uraz? I would love to hear who are you.
First of all, Mr. Waleed, thank you for having this podcast done with me. It is a real honor to be connected with somebody of your stature. I've been in the IT domain for a very long time, 22 plus years. I've been in sales for the last 30 plus years. Um, Data protection is something that is very close to my heart today. We've been at data protection in Saudi for the last 9 plus years now, talking about data protection. And this has become something which is more of a regulatory requirement today. And I'm so happy to see this because the market has matured. It's taken time to mature, but it has matured. And today, I think Saudi as a region, when it comes to data protection, is taking it more seriously
Yes.
when compared to any other region in the world. You had the GDPR that came, that I would say was a kind of reckoner for us to start looking at it. But today in Saudi, the complete government focus is there on data protection. There are regulations around data protection today. When we started initially talking about data protection in the region, the kind of feedback we used to get from customers used to be funny. They used to say, "Oh, very nice technology, but do we have to pay for it?" The pain was not there.
Yes.
For this. So some companies realized, and then we also had to explain to people that you yourself have a lot of individual data,
Yeah.
and that you would wish to protect. And we've been using the AOLs, the Hotmail, the Gmail, the Yahoo over a period of many years, and we didn't realize that we are putting a lot of our data in the cloud, right? And a lot of our confidential data. Today, if you just think of maybe if your Gmail that you use on a regular basis goes offline or you lose access to it, you're losing a lot of your personal data. So our data is very important to us. It is very dear to us. Today, what is happening, especially in the government sector today, if you look at in Saudi, there's a lot of collaboration that is taking place. There are a lot of new government entities coming into place with the new initiatives coming from the government. So there is a lot of data that is traveling outside the enterprise. But traditionally, data used to be within the enterprise. Very little data used to go outside the enterprise. But today, a lot of data is getting collaborated, and this is becoming a pain point for many organizations. And organizations have realized this. I think globally, organizations have realized this, but in Saudi, it has become mature today. And there are technologies that prevail in data protection that help you apply some kind of security controls to controlling your data when it leaves the enterprise. So you can track your data, you can revoke access of your data, you can classify your data.
It at the same
You
time.
can, and in the same process, thank you. You can encrypt the data also, so the data is traveling securely, and at the same time, you're able to see what is happening to the data even after it leaves the perimeter of the organization, right? So there's a lot of maturity coming into the enterprise world when it comes to data protection.
Perfect. So how do customer protect that? When we say a customer, I'm saying the end user.
Right.
The end user here is, I'm putting myself as a customer. I'm getting, as they say, interacted with multiple platforms, multiple, as they say, areas that really. Well, the first question, add your email. So that's a security. Add your, for sure. It's a big red flag when they ask you to add your ID or something. What I'm saying, they're utilizing this. So how can we close this?
Very good question, actually. Today, a big challenge that we see when we talk about rolling out data protection in an organization is you get a lot of backlash from business because business users still feel that when you apply security controls, it is impacting their business, it is slowing down in the way they perform business. So, it is very important to roll out your data protection strategies, your policies, your tools in such a way that you have the buy-in from business. And for this to happen, you need to have a proper rollout of your policies, a proper rollout of the tools, proper user awareness to have a good customer experience, right? And these are something that are very, very critical. Because if you have a very good tool that can help you do data protection, like protect your emails, encrypt your emails, apply digital rights management to your emails, to your files, and you have not rolled it out properly, you don't have the buy-in from business, it will be a failure. So having presence on the ground, working with the IT to ensure that proper emailers go out to the business to explain to them what is data protection all about. All right, this is very important. So making sure that you have a proper customer experience is what really matters. And from an end user standpoint, like you said, you're a customer who's kind of working in let's say a government entity or a private entity, and you are having to use these tools or use these policies. Today, you are being made responsible for that, right? So there are policies that are designed in the enterprise that call out when you try and do something wrong, right? For example, there is a top confidential document that maybe unknowingly by mistake, because you're still not trained, you still haven't got there, you're classifying that document as public. So you will get notified, you will get prompted based on how the policy is designed, how the policy is implemented, to choose the right classification policy. And this is a learning over time. So if it happens once, I'm sure in the enterprise that mistake will not repeat, right? And it's again creating awareness, telling the users, telling the business what data protection is all about. And there's a huge awareness campaign that I've seen across organizations today, especially in the cybersecurity domain, that talks about all of this. I mean, we
can see it by Sama, we can see it by Daya, we can see it. I mean, if I'm talking about Saudi,
right?
And we can see it by Sama's banks at the same time. Each bank, the emails that they'll send.
Right. Another very effective tool that we have seen to broadcast these kind of messages is the digital signage that all these entities have. I mean, we've done campaigns on digital signage with prominent government entities over here today, where we have rolled out some kind of an awareness short videos about why the entity went for data protection, what are the benefits of using data protection. So it's like, getting a buy-in from the business users as to using this for enhancing their business operation to make it more secure for them.
That's perfect. Okay, my second question, which we already discussed, and I'm really anxious to hear from.
Right.
How can companies like social platforms we could see are abusing the rights of customers? How can we could listen here internationally? They are regulating that, and what Facebook faced, and I think so TikTok at the same time, but for other reasons are facing from a different level, are utilizing that. You could see it from Google, all the big the big whales in this social.
Right.
So what's your thoughts about these regulations that need to be implemented? I could see that especially in the Gulf region, we are really leading, because as they say, we didn't need to reinvent the wheel. We took it as a learning curve here in the Gulf region. But from an outsider like you, a person who could see it from top, what do you see in that area?
See, when it comes to social media platforms, these are very good examples you gave of Facebook and Google and Instagram, for that matter, right? They are taking a lot of data from you. And this is the reason why there are regulations like GDPR and all of these that came into existence to ensure that the personal data is protected. And there is a personal data privacy law that is getting rolled out in Saudi too, to ensure that personal data is protected. I was hearing a podcast yesterday of the Indian IT minister, where he was talking about there are, like, TikTok is banned in India. I just got to know about it yesterday. And it's for a reason. I mean, and he was giving the right reasons for it. It's because the data is going somewhere else and they don't have control on this data.
Which is like the US.
Like the US, exactly, right? Exactly. So controlling your data, especially on social platforms, is something that is very critical. Like today, for example, if you have your phone anywhere near you, you talk about any topic, you'll start seeing ads on Facebook and Instagram, even if you have the mic off on your phone. So this is something which is, a breach of data privacy.
Yes, exactly.
So these are things that will have to get more fine-tuned, have to get more mature. But all these companies, all these big names, all these big fish are all just mining data. I mean, they have so much of end customer data. They have so much of information. I mean, I was talking to a consultant yesterday in my office about some HR requirements that were coming through and how she can help us. It's a global company that I was surprised. In 2 hours, I started seeing emails from HR consultants reaching out to me and asking me if, we need any help with HR hiring. And this was in the office and my laptop was open. It's a MacBook. How they got hold of this, how is Google getting this information and broadcasting it so quickly, and you're getting such quick responses on this
results.
In a way, from a business standpoint, as an end user, I'm flattered. I at least have more options to look at. If I have a real business need, I'm getting more options to look at. But on the other hand, it's scary that information is going out so quickly. So we have to be careful about this.
Yeah, true. I think so. Yeah. So I remember the old days. I don't know. You recall when the camera started being implemented in the laptops, they used to cover it.
Yes.
So the people were looking into it.
In fact,
that they could open it and they could see you in the room. Take care of that. Until people adjusted. But I think people need to really look.
I think about 4 years back or 3 years back during RSA, we used to have a very active global marketing head called Lynn Coates in California. And she actually came up with Seclore camera stickers to cover the camera. And this was a major hit. Many people liked it because this is something that protects your privacy. And that was our messaging, actually.
Yeah.
It's something that helps you protect your privacy, but it was a big hit.
That's it.
Yeah.
If she called my auntie, she could help her. It's more than 15 years ago. So another question that I would like to ask: how do we organizations address their data protection when it leads the enterprise?
This is something that has ballooned and escalated, especially during the pandemic. Earlier, all the data used to be controlled within the perimeter of the organization. There were security controls taken in measure to make sure critical data or important data or confidential data doesn't leave the organization. But with the pandemic hitting us, people had no choice. People started working remotely. Data had to travel outside.
Yes.
So this is where the need for technology in data protection, like rights management, for example, got kind of noted, and we actually started getting more inquiries because of this as an organization, because data started traveling outside the organization. Critical information, there were board of directors who were sitting and working remotely, CEOs of companies were working remotely, all the C-levels of all organizations working remotely, the finance people were working remotely. So a lot of information was leaving the perimeter, and people had no choice, because that was the need of the hour at that time.
Yeah.
So this is something that kind of gave more attention to paying attention to data protection. And that's when security controls started getting more and more mature. I think today, if you look at worldwide as regions, the direction in which Saudi Arabia is going when it comes to data privacy, data control, or data regulations, it's at a very mature level. The regulators know exactly what is required. They are giving the right instructions to both public and government and private entities to kind of adhere to these regulations, and they're being very strict about it. So people need to pay attention to it. People need to adhere to it. And today, when you have these kind of controls in place, the primitive ways of protecting your data, like having your firewalls in place, having a strong perimeter in place, all this is still a requirement. But then the need has grown beyond that. right? Data is traveling out, so data needs to be protected, and this is something that is falling into place now, and we are seeing enterprises actually comply with this and start rolling out technologies or tools that can help them achieve this.
Well, one last thing,
Yeah.
because we were discussing, and I was really excited about that discussion. And yeah, a lot of organizations that I saw and met, which I did some work with, one of their biggest, as they say, challenges, especially if they have customers, is that a person that who's working in business development, and I could see that for the past 25 years with my experience there in banks and retail business, a person who was in sales, he goes and takes his customer with him. So how can the security help these organizations to permit and stop all of this?
This is a very, very, very interesting question. I mean, I know we were talking about it earlier, and I was giving you my example. So today, we all have been in sales. We all have worked in organizations. We have a lot of information with us,
Yes.
right? We have information of customers, of distributors, of vendors, of partners. Where did we get all this information from? We took it from organizations we work for, right? We think it's a birthright.
Yeah.
Today, with these kind of data protection security controls, you can actually stop internal employees from taking data outside the organization. And this is something which is wonderful, because whatever today, I mean, I work for an organization today, I have access to a lot of information. In fact, yesterday we were having a conversation internally about how to protect the intellectual property, the IP of the organization, and put some policies in place when a person leaves the organization. So this is something that we are kind of rolling out now currently as we speak. So this is something that will stop users when they leave the organization or when they're currently working in an organization to take away organizations' intellectual property
Investments.
Yes.
It's an investment.
Exactly. It is prime information of the organization, and it has no business to be out.
Yes.
So these are security practices that will help you, especially around data protection control, to help you, make sure that these information remain within the boundaries of the organization and are not taken out and are not used for whatever purposes.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
And
for
giving me
your
your time. And it's
it's
really
a
a pleasure.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for your time. I think I've really enjoyed the discussion.
It's me too. Thank you everyone. معكم كان وليد الحمدان من CX SnaX. Thank you.
Thank you.